done much in August.
Well, maybe he's got somebody.
Yeah, maybe he knows of somebody.
Or go over to my old alumni at Madison. They've got good graphic engineering.
This is in order to protect our butts, we have to do that by September 1st. And that's a big thing.
Why? I thought we can always go in and amend our claims or the stuff.
You can amend the claims as long as it's supported in the spec. Now, if we have to get down to the nitty-gritty of the definition of the technical excuse to amend your claims to distinguish over what has been done before, in other words, if we have to limit our claim to the histogram between a range of X frames per second and Y frames per second, that is our invention. If you encode at less than, I don't know, whatever the histogram shows up, 17.6 frames per second, that is not our invention. We may have to go there to be that narrow to survive if somebody else has done it at 17.
Well, wait a minute. I hope that's not correct, because at lower bandwidth, you might have only 17 frames, but you still have greater data. But let's get to video later, right?
Yeah, my point is that you want support in specification, including technical excuse language, because I may need that to put that in the claim to make your patent survive.
Well, so let's put something in here that defines this.
Yeah.
Something that defines.
But the point is that we can't hire a technical expert to get the technical.
Well, let's get some language in that we'll get a technical expert to define later.
If it could be considered new subject matter.
No, it's never new subject matter, because the first image that did this did this.
No. New subject matter for the document on the day you file it. They don't care about what you did in your basement. The patent office doesn't care. They care about the words and figures that you put on this paper when you file it. That's all patent office cares about. You can't go back.
Well, that's not what you told Chris the other day. Chris said, what happens with a mom-and-pop inventor who later discovers the equation to what they did?
For finding who was the first inventor. That's an interference.
Oh, geez.
The question isn't whether the patent's valid or not, or the scope of your claims. The question then is, was mom and pop doing it a year before the other guy? But if mom and pop didn't describe their invention in the spec, they will never get to an interference, or the interference will be blown away because it didn't meet the rule that you have to clearly and distinctly and accurately describe the invention.
Well, we clearly describe it, but we might not know the technical underpinnings, and I got to go recheck my notes, but I think that's exactly what Chris Wheeler asked you.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. We don't need to know the reason why.
But later we can put it in?
If it does not add new subject matter.
But this wouldn't be new subject matter, this would just be an explanation of why.
Yeah, but if we're up in the fog right now, and we are using words that are so broad that, let's say our claim says zoom and pan works really neat. That's our claim. There's no way we're going to be able to go back and say, oh, well, really neat really means having a frame rate between 30 and...
And you know what? Put in the word seamlessly. Because I'll be able to argue that till the cows come home, that there's a difference between what we do and what they do, and somebody will argue out what seamless meant.
You won't get a chance to argue. If we put the word seamlessly in the claim, and it's not supported in the spec, the court will determine by itself, without ever talking to you, what it thinks seamlessly is.
Do we have to then, in order to cover this particular issue, do we have to get into a description of prior art and the standard by which zooming and panning is occurring in prior art, and then distinguish, as clearly as possible in words how ours is differentiated from it?
That's the ideal way to do it, Jim. That's what I'm saying. And if all of us knew that technical underpinnings, this would be a much,
is it
much more
necessary
written document. claim will be interpreted by the spec.
That's true.
Now,
the only differentiating is
Zoom without pixel.
the zoom without pixelation.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
and then you saw I went to umpteen degrees to define what the hell pixelation was, because that's a word in my claim. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and I'm going to concede on that because Brian just made a good point.
So I guess
you said?
Jim,
Yeah, we
you don't have to know the reason why in terms of technical reasons, but you do have to know enough about what you're doing in order to convey to the average person skilled in the art so he can make and use it.
But see, Brian, that's
And
my
so he
question.
understands what the hell it is.
That comes back to what's different between our Zoom without pixelating versus theirs. But we've already described in the way we built the frame.
Right.
That's the difference. Okay, let's stick with it.
Yeah. We have.
Okay.
We bounded how you prevent pixelation.
Okay.
We totally
And
bounded.
that's the key.
Okay, I'm lost now.
We're fine.
Working seamlessly.
Forget seamlessly.
Okay.
Page 6.
Page 6, right, we're off of 5. Page 6.
No, on page 5 I only have one more question. Figure 2, just print film is what it's showing. It can be digital, and we talk about that later, correct?
We separated now.
We separated the two. We caught them later.
Gotcha. Page 6, 24 to 32 millimeter lenses.
Uh-huh.
Why? We can use any lens.
It's a such as. It's an example.
Okay, as long as it includes every lens.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
And it says may include. That's not restrictive. But then if we ever needed, see, the reason we get so specific on this, Eliot, is because if somebody else just happens to be doing it out there in the world with a 2 millimeter lens, and it doesn't have anything to do, it doesn't come out looking like yours at all, but it just so happens our claim reads on what the hell he was doing, we can come back and say, oh no, that's not really what we were doing. We really meant this, and if this is important enough, we'll put the words 24, 32 millimeter as a dependent claim. So if we
But it's any lens, isn't it?
yeah,
What he's
my
saying
point
is
is, if this 24 to 32 means
And you can still say any.
anything,
We are saying any, but we've defined some. Okay. I'm fine.
if that was your preferred embodiment,
Yeah, okay, and that was.
that's the other reason
Okay.
it's in nature, but
That's fine.
it's not limiting if it's in the spec.
As long as
That's
it
fine.
wasn't limited.
Thing in the claim.
And then the image of a scene,
Line 10.
just strike it. Of a scene.
Okay,
Is utilized to
Fine.
contain an image which is being photographed.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
And then you see that the image may be a print film image, analog image, digital image, negative, TV signals. Can that be, Brian?
No.
No? The camera can't just shoot.
Well, yes, you can, but you can use TV signals to create an image, but you can't enlarge TV signals.
Okay.
But you can use TV signals.
Okay.
As an image.
Isn't an image just broader than that? It's what the eye perceives, and once it's digitized, then it's a signal. Or it's analogized, once it's captured in some format. So an image isn't really captured. It's a captured image when it comes to analog or digital or negative or film or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a TV signal is already captured.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what I'm saying here is the image that the camera is utilized to do the capture.
I gotcha. I'm set with that point, actually. Okay.
Okay. And again, this isn't really, as long as your best mode is in there, we're fine. And when you use the wishy-washy language, the image may be. That's not restrictive.
In line 20, we inserted the word may only because it also may not include a developing device.
That's fine. The next sentence says that, though.
It does.
That's
why I noticed that after the May came in. And we definitely talked about a digital file.
Okay, you're right.
Although,
Then should we leave the may out? Because it will include some. You got to develop print.
no,
I think he was right.
well, what if it did it all in one system?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's still developed, like a Polaroid.
Okay, I got what you're saying.
Polaroid
That's
has
what I
a
was,
process.
we size it, we say that we don't make a bigger target frame than we have source image.
Source. Because as soon as you do, you introduce pixelation.
Right, you don't want to enlarge anything unless it's not been digitized yet.
Well, you basically the enlargement step is part of the shooting.
A digital image is a digital image. It has pixels. And it has a height and a width.
And it's just placing it now in the frame.
And you place it into the
So you've already done all the developing, scanning, and enlarging.
Right.
By picking, I want my image size to be 4 football fields.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you got the
Capture all the pixels that way.
source image.
Okay, good.
But you don't enlarge that, because if you do,
You start pixelating.
and then
Because you're enlarging pixels.
Right.
We just
And that's
create it large. We don't create it small and enlarge it.
Right.
Right. We don't create it to fit the frame. We create it to
Right.
blow away the frame.
so is my understanding correct, though, that you never enlarge a digital image before you process it? That's not a step for a digital image. You only enlarge a print film image, correct?
Right.
But what you do is
Set your enlargement.
the image that you're taking, your target image, at a size so that when it is taken, it is already at a size that exceeds
But
the
technically, I see what you're saying, but I don't call that enlarging, I guess.
Oh, okay.
We're getting, okay, good.
Okay.
But let's make this clear, because I don't understand it still within the verbiage that's here.
Okay, what line? Where are you?
Well, we'll get to it. That's why I said it's there, because I started to get confused, and then later we'll get into it in the mathematics of it. Just wanted you to be aware of that.
Okay, page 7.
Page 7.
I'm sorry, I want to back up. Did he get into the enlarger? Okay, the only enlarging is on page 6, line 24. System 10 also includes an enlarging device 16 for enlarging the image which is developed by developing device.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, 99.9% of the time, this is going to be a photographic enlarging device, right? Right?
Right, yeah.
We may have to use that word someday. I got to have it in here.
Okay, yeah, because we wouldn't call it a pixel enlarging device.
Exactly. Maybe enlarge, the image may be
Well, we said earlier
photographically
that
enlarged from a print film image. Okay.
We said earlier it's non-digital image source for this section, did we not?
Yeah. And I just want to get the word photographically in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this time, that's what you're saying.
Be
Right.
photographically enlarged.
Well, it doesn't have to be photographic. It could be, well, is a negative a photograph?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the word then?
What?
It is.
I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you would say
Some
I'm
other-
enlarging a negative is a photographic enlargement.
It's your choice
Okay.
whether you enlarge it as a positive or negative.
What we're really talking is analog enlargement as opposed to digital.
Right.
Correct.
Optical, analog.
Oh, analog, yeah. That optically enlarged? No? Yeah, that's